Hello, and welcome back to Quinville. I'm Mars, and we have quite a bit to do today. We're going to be moving one of the city's industry areas to a brand new location, but there's a lot of infrastructure work that needs to be done before that can happen. So at the very least, we'll lay the groundwork for the big move today, and if we have time, we'll make that happen too. Before we get started, it's time for today's neighborhood focus. Not long after Quinville was founded, Elam Hawthorne started the Briarwood Lumber Company to take advantage of the area's rich natural resources, and the business still occupies the land on which it was founded over a century and a half ago. For decades now, the family has resisted moving, but circumstances have recently changed. The latest owner, Jeremiah Hawthorne, has announced his retirement and is placing the future of Briarwood Lumber in the hands of his grandson Nathaniel. With their eyes on future growth, Nathaniel's wife Laurel has leveraged her real estate connections and negotiated the purchase of a large swath of land north of the city. Not only is the land mostly flat, but tests have shown that the soil is excellent for growing timber, and there's an old disused railroad spur already in place that used to serve a now defunct tobacco farm. Having secured the railroad's agreement to refurbish and reopen the spur in exchange for the promise of future business and a piece of their newly acquired land, everything is in place for the big relocation. The city has been pushing for this move for ages, and as such is more than happy to allocate a portion of its new infrastructure bill allotment to build a couple roadway connections out to the area. Our first project today is the first of those two connections, an extension of the existing network within the Briarwood area, north across the river. Our project, then, is to bring Price Street all the way through across the river. We're going to tie it into the interstate, probably right around here. I don't want to do it too far this way. The road would have to run along here for a long ways. And I think it's going to be important for the city to get this connection through here back to the city, as well as Price going through to the new industrial area. Both are going to do us a lot of good. Of course, Briarwood doesn't mind having to give up a little bit of their land, or at least demolish some of their fields here in order to build this new road. They are thrilled about it, as a matter of fact. So let's get going on this. I'm going to use these no parking 2-lane median roads here. And we're going to take those all the way across to here. We're going to have to bridge over the train tracks. We're going to have to sink the train a little bit, unfortunately. Yeah, that's not going to work. Not at all, but we are going to do some adjusting here, I think. First of all, let's just move it. Match that to this height. Now that's still plenty high, but I know in order to get this slope looking even halfway decent, we're going to have to lower that track. If you just... Oops, I need to choose the right tool. That's not the right tool. That's the right tool. So if you look... yeah, that's not going to cut it. Let's take this train down a little ways, and then we can see how close we can get that bridge to it. Go with that. Okay, that's quite a ways down there. I'm going to slope to here and see what that gives us. That's a little more than I wanted to do, so let's bring this back up some. Go. Try this again. 1.3 is pretty good. I think we can make that work, so we'll do the same thing over here. Whoops, need to cancel out of there. Go. Let's take it all the way down that whole straight section. Excellent. Now we know how low we can get with this. As long as the catenary isn't running through the bridge like it is now, then we're okay. So, right about there ought to be just fine. Back into road slope tool. Still a little more than I wanted that way. Let's do this. Take the whole setup down a little bit more. Okay. Now what are we at? Not ideal, but I can live with it. And same thing over here. Oh, even better, apparently. Okay. I'll take that. No, the catenary is good. What does this look like? 8.6. Let's do this. Let's bring this up just a little bit. Now, that's fine. Yep, that'll work. We also want to bring everything here to that height. Whoops, object height there. Cutting through this mountain is entirely reasonable. And then this will probably have to come down some to come across. I want this to come to this side of the river, not very high above the river's level at all. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's go up one press, and then bring that across to there. I want this and that. I suppose that to be at the same height as this last node here, so unselect that one. Set to object height there. And then we'll go back in and slope this. Fortunately, that's okay to come down into the bridge like that. And we'll just upgrade this into a level piece. And then pull back this using Alt. And then come in and do our slope again. Ooh, that is definitely an extra node that we don't want hanging around. Sloping again. 6.8's fine. It's not that long, and it's on a straight stretch where there's flat on either end. So I don't think that'll be an issue for us. Now we'll bring price in. Let's get this part set up first. I think I want to prep our terrain before I do this. So let's take a brush here. This height. I'm just going to back some of this stuff out. Give ourselves some room to work with. This would certainly be an expensive project, but the city's expecting that. It's something that the city has wanted for ages, so they're willing to work with the highway department, at least I assume that's a thing, to make this happen. Oh, hey, we have a semi driving through the woods. Where you going there, bud? All right, you have a nice trip. Anyway, let's get our interchange in. I'm going to do this right about here. That looks about the same on either side. And then from here, I'll worry about making this all exact in a minute. For now, I just want to get it over to our, and then pointing in that direction. I think if we keep doing this, we're going to wreck that rock, and I don't want to do that. So let's slide this over here just for the time being. Find a place to stash it. I like to save these. I like them. They're neat. Okay, back to putting this in. We can adjust this by extending this out a little ways. First things first, let's get the interchange built. This side's going to be pretty easy, regular diamond style. This side, I'm going to do a parklow from up here. Bring that in under this portion of the bridge. And the reason I'm doing that, I-10 here has a lot of access points in this direction. ways to get into the city from the interstate. And then it's got this one over here. This one, which is Route 49. The most direct route into the city is going to be this interchange, by far. So anybody coming into town from I-10, they've got all sorts of ways to get off, but this one is going to be coming right into here, and that's going out that direction too. So what's going to happen, we're going to get a ton of traffic that's going to want to get onto Interstate 10 West, and a bunch that's going to get off I-10 East onto this street. I-10 East getting off is already going to be a right turn, but I want to make this a right turn off of here to get onto Interstate 10 to prevent having a million lefts across there, because that's going to be the predominant movement through this interchange. Now, I want to start off with an asymmetric here. So we're just going to do a little piece of one sticking out. Don't worry about how that how that works in a minute. Just needed enough to get it out there. Now I'm also going to take my highway road or highway ramp here. I'm going to use the parallel road tool to build from here to here a parallel road. I'm going to hit plus a few times to give that a little bit of separation. Then I hit enter, and then we have that in place. Now to get to this, I'm going to try to use the loop tool. Now sometimes I'm better with this than I am at other times, so we'll see how this goes. In order to change the directionality on this, as I click on the two segments that I want to connect, this is correct, but I don't want to connect to this side of that segment. I want to connect to this side. See how the end lights up blue? I click on that, and then that puts it right where I want it. Now I have to hit minus up on my on the number bar. Doing it on the number pad doesn't do you any good to change the size of that piece. So I'm going to bring that in a little bit. To pull it away from the interchange. It's going to give them plenty of acceleration room as it is, so this can be slow. That's not important. Then I hit enter to place that. Clearly we're going to need to slope that, but just getting it into place and having it look beautiful like that is good. 3.1%, that's not bad at all. That, though, is going to need to be addressed, so we'll have to take this. Perfect. There we go. Excellent. And I need to get the next piece of this part of the parklo in place. So I'll use the highways thing. And I'm going to use my parallel road tool again. And if it shows up on the opposite side of the road that you want, just hit tab. And there you go. And it's in the right place. I usually use 7 presses to get it away from road when I'm doing a ramp like this. You can use whatever amount you like. Just any closer, and you get that weird diagonal ruining effect, like the gravel. It doesn't look great, in my opinion. So I like to pull it away a little bit. So we're going to pull this out. Use the curved road tool to bring that in nice. Whoops, that was not what I wanted to do. Curved road tool. Find our guideline. There we go. Perfect. And then we can adjust this a little bit to make it look way better. I'm going to hold Alt to line this up. I'll have to work some with the slope here before it'll let us make this look good, I think. Bring that all the way. Whoops, I don't want parallel. I want slope. It should be much, much nicer. As a matter of fact, I'm going to upgrade this stretch right here to be ground level as well. I think that makes sense. It's a little bit close, isn't it? Let's see some things I can do. Let's slope that node. And then we're going to bring this down a little bit more and make that look a little bit nicer. And then we'll slope it from here instead. I'm fine with a 3.7%. It'll help you accelerate as you're getting onto the interstate. And come back in here and tie this in like so. Beautiful. Make sure our directionality is good. And that's perfect. Now we're going to tie this one in as well. grab the road, hold Alt so that this lines up perfectly with this piece. And we are good. Like I said, with this side, it's just going to be a simple diamond style. So I do want to upgrade this, not quite to there. Let's make our node first, because I also want this to be ground level too, now that I think about it. So we're going to go get our asymmetric, upgrade that to ground level. Perfect. Much better. Oh, I need to flip that around too. Okay, so we have right and left turns in separate lanes. Just to make this crossing here, I'm going to use the regular road. For some reason, the highway doesn't like to give me good angle. Click to angles, however you want to say it. So I'm just going to use this to make this work how I want. And then use the highway from there to get it in. Actually, I'm going to bring that back. I want that to come out and start turning right away. Same deal here. Let's make these match each other. So let's make sure we're on the right road. Then come in and do your parallel tool. And we're going to have that. Let's do this first. Let's make a new node right here. And then we'll parallel from here back. Again, hit tab to put it in the right place. Then we'll tie in. I can get rid of this and match these two up with one another. That's nice. That's very nice as far as grades go, but I don't like what the terrain is doing right here. So similar to what we did on the other side, let's pull this down and then use our slope again and just slope to that point instead. Again, having a 3.5% grade here isn't going to hurt anybody. Let's get our directionality fixed here. This is all getting on, so let's get that in the right direction. And we're going to do the same deal here, except I want to bring this out about as far, so parallel. Let's see, how far out are we? Up here, I think. Oh, I did that too close, and see what I mean? How it's got that kind of weird diagonal tearing thing going on. I'm just going to remove that, and we'll try again. Okay, much better. Let's get this brought in here. We'll curve road tool, grab that guideline, bring it right in. Perfect. And slope that out. Going to try to here and see what that looks like. I see why it's not liking it. That's much better. That's perfect. Okay. Excellent, excellent. Didn't realize there was sloping on the bridge section here. Quite a bit of it, actually. Well, one thing that I can do for sure, let's take node controller and slope these. That will fix some of that. Oh yeah, that already looks a lot better. I think I can leave it alone at this point. I don't want to mess with it too much because I don't want to bring it too low that we're having semis come close to clipping that bridge. Being an interstate, there would be serious regulations against doing stuff like that, so that looks about right as far as distance. Let's get that finished up here and bring it into the interstate. Fix our directionality. We have a complete interchange. Should function very nicely. We have somebody coming in to use it. Oh, the road maintenance truck. Fair, that makes sense. Now we need to tie these two together, but before we do that, when we look at our terrain, there's some serious stuff going on in here. I'm gonna just flatten this all out. For the size of this project, like I said, they would absolutely understand that a lot of grading would be needed, and it's better to do it now up front than to run into problems later. So we'll clean all that up, like so. And let's tie this in. So a little bit sharper than I would want, so let's freeform this instead. And then bring it in with the curved road tool now. So, the problem with the curved road tool is when you're really close to one end or the other, it doesn't, to me, look as nice. So you kind of have to use the straight road to get things in the vicinity that you want. And then you can use your curved road tool to make them tie in really nicely together. Find the guideline. Get in. I think that's a little bit cleaner looking. And I seem to remember we were having some slope issues over here, so let's check that. Yes, I definitely want to do that. And bring that out a little bit. We already know that these are great. Good to go from there. Gonna start getting some use right away. Oh dear. Well, it's a good thing they're moving, I guess. And a good thing that they've already made arrangements to sell the land. In the meantime, every fire helicopter in the city is here putting out the Briarwood Lumber Company, so it doesn't set the rest of the city on fire. Yay. Oh, I need to get rid of this landfill. Should have done that last week, or even the week before. Okay, so now let's just take a look and see what's going on with the traffic. I want to show you what's happening here. Getting quite a lot of action. A lot of it's coming in off of here. And actually a little bit more than I expected going off the interstate all the way. And one thing, that's probably a road maintenance vehicle taking that route. Not very much taken this way out of town. I guess if you're here, it makes more sense just to go straight down to the service district here, rather than come up all the way over, especially with that big dog leg, bringing it west, and then back around like so. Not to say there's nothing coming in or out that way. We are getting some private traffic coming in through from Delta Eastern, so it's more options for connectivity is always good. More ways to get from point A to point B will lessen traffic for you. Let's take a look here. I want to make sure this is all cleaned up. Ah, that's not what I wanted to do at all. I'll just undo that. Thank you very much. Undo it mod doesn't always work perfectly, but it sure is nice to have it when it does. Clean up some of the junk here. Excellent. Why I came over here in the first place is I wanted to check on this. I'm going to pull this out just a little bit. Shorten the bridge span up. I think that's probably good. I'll do just a little bit of that over here as well. Now let's center this node. I think we've got a tool for that as well. Move It can do that. Yes, it can. So we're going to go this, hold shift to select each of the nodes. Now I might be wrong. Nope, I was exactly right, except now I have to manually move just the support here. Let's use Alt. That will line it up with the rest of the bridge. And we're good. Problem solved. So now that we know how we're going to get up here, but I am getting ahead of myself. Before I can move on, I've got to come and make this pretty. So let's get all of that done. First thing I'm going to do is go in with Node Controller and square all of these nodes out. This one I'm going to pull in a little bit. I want to give some separation here. Squaring the nodes up just makes them look better. Ah, I forgot to upgrade this to highway, and I'm also going to get rid of that node. Back into Node Controller. I may have to fiddle with this one a little bit more, but for now I'm going to call that okay. We're definitely getting some traffic. Oh, let's take care of the signals while we're here. There's no reason to have a light at either of these. Regular old stop sign will be plenty. Now I'm going to come in and mark all this stuff up. Hold shift. Hold shift to make this line come out solid. Let's also get our lane mathematics in place. I like having a dedicated exit and acceleration lanes. Another baby node I can get rid of. And when I do that, if you notice, it removes my naming. I'll fix that. Back into node controller to line these up appropriately. I always forget that I can do this, if I remember right. Yeah, shift here and then shift there. Okay. So, click the corner you want to align. I want to align this one to this one. So I click the one I want to move first, and then I want to match it with that. Perfect. Same thing here. And here. And we'll mark it all up. Here in Phoenix, and I actually looked at some Google images from the Gulf area, it looks like they do things very similarly to what we do. Sometimes these will have chevrons in the Gulf area, and sometimes they don't. Here, they just don't pretty much ever. So I leave them blank. If I was doing them in an area of the country that had some sort of marking in the gore, I would absolutely use it, but it looks like it doesn't in this part of the country. If I'm wrong and you live around there and you see that sort of stuff all the time and you think that I need to do that, please, please, please let me know, and I will, down in the comments, I'll be happy to get it corrected. But as far as I know, that's accurate. We're going to copy this and paste it in the others to make this much, much quicker. Okay, that's TMPE, lane connector, this stuff. You come in here, that's all you're able to do. And then we don't want you changing into that lane. At that point, you're fine. Do whatever you want. That is a really tiny node, isn't it? Guess they're all like that. Alright. Suppose it does make sense for cars to cut across here because they do it in real life all the time, even though you're not supposed to. I will not enforce my will on you, I guess. Just make sure nobody's trying to pull a U-turn out here. Absolutely no need to have crossings at any of these, and we do want the vehicles to continue through all of them. Something I'm going to do, double check on out here too, make sure that we're allowing vehicles to continue through. And it looks like we're fine. May end up needing extra turn lanes coming out of here too. It certainly isn't going to hurt anything to have them, so let's go ahead and add those in real quick with this highway. We'll just upgrade that last segment before we come in and do our marking. Here we don't need it. Okay. Tell you what though, I want to have crosswalks here. So let's go back with this. Hold shift. So we're going to hold shift here. Here? No. Where is that supposed to be here? Fair enough. Not quite as bright. I'm going to fix this, or it's going to bother me. There looks right. There, much better. Much, much better. So next we're going to come back up here and get the bones of our area built. You can tell there's a little bit of a depression in here. I'll turn terrain on. This is something else that that would be graded out for sure. Briarwood wants nothing to do with this. They're spending way too much money on this project to fight with this sort of thing while they're trying to build. So let's get down here, snag up height, and they're just going to fill all this stuff in. Probably using some of the fill that the city and the highway department had spare from their work over here. Let's get this size up, because we just want to flatten all this stuff out. And they're going to cut some of this down as well. This will be another source of that dirt for them. As you see that these ruins have lost a little bit. Normally I don't like to get rid of this stuff. Considering the type of build that this is, they're not going to let something like this stay out here being all ugly and such in their field of view. Again, I'm going to try and save these. I'm not going to get too heavy into this area, but I am going to do some work over here, I think. So let's just pull these back. I want to leave enough room to get a collector through here at some point. Maybe not today, but at some point that's going to happen. Now I'm going to pull the rail back a little bit, because we're going to want to put a station in here, probably right about here, which means that I'll have to have a road first, and I want that to be parallel to the tracks. So let's use our road guidelines. Just get this built as a guideline. So our train station, cargo. Okay, I need to come a little ways back. See what that does. Just a little closer now. That might be too far. Yep, I figured as much. Animal of some kind wandering around out here? Huh, yeah, there you go. Sorry, buddy. We're going to be in your way here pretty soon. One more, maybe? How about now? Perfect. I'm not going to build it right here, but slide it down to there, and it will be perfect spot. I'm going to place this station temporarily because I've got some... I took some notes when I was in here earlier testing out where I have room for things, etc. And I want to make sure that I've got everything, that I have enough room for all the things that I want to do in the future here. Yeah, that should give me plenty of room to work with. Like I said, I want a collector in here at some future point. Certainly we need one coming out of here, so let's just build that right now. Perfect, I managed to get the grid all lined up and everything. And then for this, I wanted this to be about 50 units down before we start the next collector. Oh, perfect. This will go across to here, and I'm just going to build this out quite a ways. We'll use it all eventually. Maybe not right this second, but we will get to using all of it. And this will be an extension of this here in just a moment. To get into the neighborhood, let's stick with our previous roads. Oops. Here we go. Perfect. Where'd my guideline go? Come on back. There a second ago. We do it this way, huh? That'll be fine. That will do just fine. Bring it into here and get us some traffic into this area. We're going to need power. We're going to need water. Let's at least get the bones of that stuff into place right now. Okay, and then power. Bring that in from here. Perfect. That'll be part of the power network very shortly. Let's get this thing connected back up to the rails. One reason I wanted to have a little bit of space in here, I may eventually want to put in another station back here. There's going to be there's a lot of unused land back here. Some of this is going to go for the airport at some point. That airport's going to be in here. But that still leaves us with some developable land in between there. It's flat. We're going to have roadway access brought out to it, so it seems to me like it'll be used at some point here. Could go some nice easy curves in there, and trains can start rolling in. Now this road is not going to be permanent here. In fact, let's back this out right now. This is going to end up being one side of our circuit here. To what I was talking about, what I'm going to build down here is the same thing I did in Delta Eastern. This works so well. Having the circuit come in one way, come back out, and then the central one being a tunnel that can continue through back into this area. I may not have the central tunnel. I'm not sure what I would do with it yet. That might be a good way to tie it back into the rest of the area or get under the tracks. So, you know, a future use kind of a thing. Not something they would realistically build all at the same time, but they'd certainly realistically leave room for it in the future. So I think that's how we're going to operate today, is we'll just split things off and leave room in the center for a road in the future. So to do that, let's get at our tools here. So I'm going to select that industry road again. I'm going to use the same thing throughout. And we're going to use our Network Multi-Tools Parallel Road tool again. Bring that out 2. And the same thing again. Bring it out 2. I don't need that center road right now. That was just a guideline for knowing exactly how far to make this one street from the other. So we're going to come out. Curve tool, we're going to go 3 out. It's 2 over, so we're going to go 2 out, 2 over, 2 out, 2 over. And then I'm going to... Actually, I should have left that road in the middle because I need it as a guideline again. We'll just do a partial run this time to... I don't care about this stuff because this isn't staying. So the weird ruining thing doesn't mean anything to me right now. I need to pull these 12 down. Then we're going to switch to our collector. Pull this back because I want to bring this all the way down to here. And then we can remove this guideline. Maybe I didn't want to do that yet. So what I want is for this to come in at the same angle on either side, and we're going to use Move It to make these come in nicely. I think I need this node here. Yeah, I don't. Let's go hold Alt. Whoops. Click that, hold Alt. What we're lining up is this bit back here. I'm going to bring this down almost right to where the crosswalk is. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So let's get rid of that node. Grab it with Alt. Perfect. And then again, right about to there, if we click on both of them together, it should be just about lined up. And then we can nix that, and these will have the curve getting in here that I want. So node controller this. Not a lot that needs to be done here. I'm definitely going to get rid of some of this stuff, though, so we don't need anybody crossing here. If you want to cross, you can do it before you get to the intersection. We want traffic to come through all the way. And no U-turns is already in place, so now let's mark it up. Again, I'm going to click, hold Shift, make these all solid lines. hold Alt and put in some filler here. You'll see I'm overlapping this. I'm going to use pavement, and I'm going to make this 0.31, just because if you don't, you get some weird clipping issues with the existing pavement. That's not bad, though. I may get rid of it a little bit more. With most roads, you don't need to go quite that high. Yeah, it's not very noticeable. Now let's take these corners down. So we're going to give it a corner radius. I like to give it a radius of 3, and then because of the way the medians are here, let's give that a radius of 3 as well. Perfect. Certainly don't need this signalized, I'm seeing. And we'll have to also make sure our arrows, this should be, yeah, no left. Oh, this is, I need to upgrade the road anyway. This all needs to be one way. So that's a one-way loop to serve that station. And then I need to fix this. No lefts, only rights. Same here. That shouldn't be an issue anyway. Okay. Station's working, and it's getting some action already from the plain timber. Okay, so that's... surprised it'd come out that far. That is a... yeah, it's coming from the agricultural center. That's interesting. Maybe the destination is closer to that state, off down the track to that station. I'm not sure why it would need to use that one, but I'm fine with it. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just going to stay on the freeway and yeah, and then on this interchange that we just built. So I don't think it hurts anything having that traffic go there. I think that is a-okay. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to turn off lock forestry. It's one of the new tree anarchy mods. Or what that does, unlocking it means that just like in the base game, if I place trees, it will change what our forestry resource is. Oops, wrong one. So you hear that it's not great in this area, but we're going to make it fantastic by putting down a lot of trees. So bear with me for a moment while I do some tree painting. Okay, that's a lot of trees. Let's see what that did. Haha. All that bright solid green except under the roadways where we couldn't place it, and that's fine, I don't care. I'm going to turn tree locking back on. I'm also going to get water all the way out here. We're going to need a ton of it. It's going to be necessary. Oh, let's change where it is here too, so that it is appropriately lined up with our roadway. Perfect. Now we've got water to the station, we got water in the area for whatever our needs are, and we have a whole lot of work that we can do. So I'm excited to get to the next bit. But unfortunately, we're about out of time for today, so we will have to do this again another time. I am really looking forward to getting to this part of the build, but I hope you enjoyed what we did today. I know I certainly did. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you feel that I've earned it, and enjoy the ride.